Welcome back to Runiverse. I'm Andrew, and in this video, I'm going to start a new type of series, hopefully. Or basically, I'm just going to collect stuff from the past week, like news, or if I don't record every week, then maybe just since last time. And this will just be stuff that I found interesting, mostly the gaming-related stuff. So I have a few items I want to share with you today. And at the end of the video, I actually want to share info about a new Runiverse tournament. So you might have seen my recent video series, which is coming to an end this week, which is the Runiverse Booster Deck Pack Tournament Series, where I just basically play these booster deck packs against each other. And this time I want to get more people involved. So you can skip to the end of the video or just stay tuned to see how that works. But anyway, let's get started with the first item that I picked out. So first up, we've got the Grand Archive Tcg. This is live on Kickstarter now for almost 2 more weeks, and it's got good feedback and negative feedback from people who have different priorities, I suppose. But for me, I like the art style. It's not my favorite necessarily, but I do think it's very well executed. I think the graphic design looks really good, and I think the game is fun. I did a video last week, I think, where I played through the Tabletop Simulator demo. They're continuing to iterate and change that, of course. The game's still in development, as it should be, all the way up until when you hit the print button, pretty much. And I think that's great. I think like I said, the way they lay out the text on the cards is really good. They have a very clean graphic design style, which I appreciate, and nice, really well executed artwork. So I just think the cards look really cool. One of the classes is going to be the Tamer, I believe, and the Tamer looks right up my alley. I really liked the Mage as well, though, in the demo decks. And even the Fighter is cool with this Crux element as its top. So I am backing it, and I'm excited to get some cards eventually. They've got a lot of information on their page, and I understand some critiques that people have for it, or why you might not want to pledge a bunch of money toward a Kickstarter TCG, or why you're resistant to TCGs in general, because you think a lot of people are just speculating them on financially. So for me, it'd be great if the investment becomes worth something, but mostly I'm a player and I'm going to pick up cards to play with. So I already played, I liked it, I'm interested in playing more. So the next item I have here is the Stephen Rhodes Games Volume 2 Kickstarter, which is also live on Kickstarter. However, I'm not backing this one, and I don't plan to. So I'm specifically looking at cryptozoology for beginners. So if you want all 3 of these games, it looks like a great box set that you can get all 3 of these together. And here we go. So this is what this little slipcase looks like. Seems great. But the pledge for one game is $20, plus I think it's like almost another $20 just in shipping. And I feel like I'm going to be able to get this game at retail and not have to pay $20. So, or not have to pay $20 plus shipping. I'll just pick it up. There are some Kickstarter bonuses, but again, it's just a little bit too expensive right now. But it looks like a pretty fun, simple entry-level drafting game with like kind of a cryptid theme. I'm not a huge cryptid person, but I think it matches this game aesthetic really well. There was a first series of these games that, again, I passed on pretty easily. I've never played any of them, but some of them have gotten pretty good reviews. So actually, it looks a little bit more promising because of that. So specifically, the cryptozoology for beginners, the drafting game, is the one that I'm interested in. But there are 3 options, and plus the 3 of the Volume 1 options. And I'll be waiting for retail, but you can check it out for yourself. So the next item I have on the list is more related to game design than previously is just games that are on Kickstarter. So it's not even a game design video, actually. It's just a video about motivation. And for me, that would be mostly applicable to my game design and the time I spend doing that. So let's just watch a few seconds of this video and you can get an idea of what he's going to talk about.
What gives me anxiety is if I go to the gym, this is the anxious thought, because it's not holding a thought. Here comes the anxiety. The anxiety bumps out. People will think I'm out of shape. Then you're no longer focused on going to the gym. You're focused on what people think. This is the anxiety. Anxiety is a really powerful thing to bump motivation out of your mind.
So I've never seen this guy before. I maybe heard of his channel before, but YouTube just kind of randomly recommended it. I thought, sure, let's see what people don't get about motivation. I did watch the whole thing and I enjoyed it. I think it's a quality video and it's got a lot of interesting ideas that I've been trying to model my mind around. His premise is basically that when you see people who are motivated, you think, oh, that's motivation. But really motivation is something internal, not something you can see. It's not the the outcome, the motivation comes from just what you think about all the time. If there's something that you're thinking about all the time, you're going to be motivated to do it. But if you have a lot of distractions, or you might have a certain mental state where you're having all kinds of different stimuli coming into your head, they're bumping out your core idea that you prefer to be focused on, but you keep getting distracted, then you're just not going to be motivated. And he doesn't really get into like, well, okay, well then what should I do? Too much. He does propose some types of meditation or things like that, but honestly, I think just understanding his ideas can be helpful, because then you can observe things about yourself. You can notice when you're thinking about something you want to be motivated on, and then how much time you spend about thinking about other things. Or maybe you're thinking about the thing you want to be doing, but then another idea pops into your head and you might not realize it for a half an hour, but then you think, oh wait, I was supposed to be thinking about that thing that I want to be working on. So I recommend watching it, especially if there's some creative, or maybe not creative, just something you need to be doing more of in your life. Maybe it's studying, or you want to be a writer, or you want to learn to code, or whatever. Watch this video and figure out how you can model your mind, change your thought patterns to kind of match, to be able to be motivated, rather than just looking at other people and thinking, oh, they just do it every day. If you understand where he's coming from, you're going to see probably how some of those motivated people are being motivated, why they're motivated, and maybe what you can do. So anyway, thought it was interesting. Next up here is just a cool piece of art. So I do visit DeviantArt usually most days and just check out what's on the homepage, what are the people I'm watching creating, and this is one of the guys I watch, I guess Mark331, I don't know. He does a lot of Pokemon commissions, so I've never commissioned him, I've never interacted him, but I really like his art. He's got that kind of classic Pokemon art style, but he has a bit of his own style as well, mixed in there. And I think most of his commissions are people who commission him to illustrate their kind of trainer avatar along with their Pokemon team. So you can see somebody with an Aerodactyl and Squirtle, Crobat, Krogunk, and Swablu here. But he's got a bunch of great ones here. So here's some birds from Galarian birds. There's a team of electric types, and I won't go through all of these, but I definitely recommend, if you're a Pokemon fan, go check out his gallery. So there you go, that's a short one, but very cool art. So next up is Sorcerer. So a few months back, the Wise Wizard Games did a Kickstarter for Sorcerer Endbringer, which is an expansion to the Sorcerer base game, and it adds co-op and solo mode, which I'm particularly interested in. So that, like the cryptozoology game, I did not back Sorcerer Endbringer on Kickstarter, but I do plan to pick it up at retail. Or rather, I did back it for a very small pledge amount, but with the intention of following along for updates and then picking it up at retail. But they recently announced that Endbringer is playable on Tabletop Simulator. So I'm hoping I might find some time to play this on Tabletop Simulator. If I do, I'll certainly record it, although I might just wait until it does come out in retail and let my first experience with the game be in physical form. So if you're unfamiliar with Sorcerer, here you can see the box art for the base game. Here's kind of a setup photo of like what a player board kind of looks like. So Sorcerer is a battling game. The theme is kind of very dark fantasy magic. I think it's Victorian time, but the backstories of the sorcerers are all very grim. They're very demonic or dark backstories. So if you like that kind of tone, this is going to match up. It's not my favorite, but I do think they execute it really well here. And here's another picture of a very dark, bloody-mouthed girl there. And then you can see a spread of some more cards going on. Basically, you get to pick, I think it's called a lineage and a character and where you're from. And those three things are going to bring a bunch of different cards together that then forms your deck. It's not a TCG where you're just building deck piecemeal or like an LCG. You just pick those three things and you shuffle them together, like a shuffle building game, I think some people would call it. And then there's three locations. You can see the on the left, middle, and right, there are three locations there. Those are the locations that you and your opponent are competing over. So in the solo or co-op version, you're competing with, I guess, the automated monster creature, and I'm really interested to try that out. I also might just do a Sorcerer series where I just do PvP and play both sides like I have with several other games so far, but This is something that interests me. They have a ton of different like lineage and character packs, so you can add all kinds of different characters. It does use dice rolling to resolve, and there's a lot of tokens involved and things like that. So it's a very board gamey feel type of card game, but it is still a 2-player dueling game, which I like. So, and then of course solo, which I appreciate as well. So it's on Tabletop Simulator now, so you can play it for free. You can pick up the base game if you want. For me, I'll be deciding, do I want to try out the solo mode now or wait? But it's definitely piqued my interest when I saw this update. And next up here, a bunch of news came out officially from Wizards of the Coast about Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. So you may have heard of Kamigawa. This is the Japanese themed set from Magic that was several years back, a bunch of years back. Now, I suppose I'm getting very old, and this is the new Neon Dynasty. It's like 1,200 years later, and technology has advanced. The technology is all magical based, and it's got a kind of cyberpunk feel, but you can see these dragons with the cool cyberpunk Japanese background. And I'm excited just to see kind of a shift in Magic, a different type of plane, even though every plane does feel different in Magic. This one is definitely more different from the norm, and I'm interested to see some of the things they do with it. The neon, the bright colors definitely appeals to me as well. So a bunch of information up. There's a trailer you can take a look at. They did a stream. Here's a Ninja Planeswalker that's going to be coming out. And speaking of, and these basic lands. Yeah, these basic lands, wow. But the Ninja Planeswalker that is going to be headlining this set, they also have some origin stories for him. So I'm sure we'll dig into the lore. I think it's in January that they're going to release more of the story. But I did read what we've got so far, which is his background, or some of it, that kind of sets him off on his Planeswalker journey. And I enjoy it. I try to keep up with most of the Magic lore, although I definitely haven't read a bunch of the stories, at least in the past couple of years. Ever since they stopped doing novels, it's hard for me to keep track of all the different web fiction. I wish they would just release it as like a PDF or like an ebook that I could just read it all at once. But anyway, I did read this. I thought it was okay. It's passable, but it's enjoyable, and I'm happy to read about the story at the very least. The web fiction, I definitely think the authorship quality varies from story to story. This one I would say was, middle to good. So if you want to read only the highest quality of fiction, maybe this isn't the right one. But if you want to keep up with Magic, I think it did not bother me to try to read through this. And speaking of Magic and quality fiction, I recently picked up this book here, Strixhaven, A Curriculum of Chaos. So this is a D&D book based on the Magic setting Strixhaven, which is the magical school. The greatest minds in the multiverse meet at Strixhaven University. Professors teach wondrous secrets to eager students, and life on campus is frenetic. The danger lurks even here when campus hijinks mix with sinister plots. It is up to you to save the day. So that's the D&D book based on Strixhaven, and I think it's very pleasant to just kind of be able to dig deeper into some of the lore. The writing is not narrative, but it shows you all the different characters, and if you ever want to run a D&D or role-playing game in that kind of setting, it's definitely perfectly set up for that, which I dream of doing one day. Hopefully I get a chance eventually if I find the right group of people who would like to play with me. But it's definitely something I've enjoyed dipping my toe into so far. And so the last thing on the list for today is the aforementioned Runiverse Tournament. So this is probably a different type of tournament than you've seen before. So basically what I want to do is have 8 entrants. So it'll be kind of first come, first served. And it'll be, all you have to do to enter is submit a deck list for one of the 8 facets. So we've got Ruby, Trine, Orth, Sphene, Emery, Quam, Saf, or Thist. It's red, orange, yellow, green, blue, turquoise, or purple. So you can check out all the cards here at silent7.com/runcyclopedia, and you can look through all the cards. You need to download the rules for the deck construction rules if you don't know them, and you can check that in the description. I'll have a link. And then I'll be playing the decks that the users submitted the same way I played them in the booster deck pack tournament. Now, if people really want to, and there's outcry about this, I'm definitely open to the idea that users can pilot their own decks for the sake of the tournament. But not a lot of people have a lot of cards, so a webcam tournament might not work. I really don't like the look of Untap, so I'm not thrilled about the idea of making videos on that platform. And not a lot of people necessarily have or know how to use Tabletop Simulator. But if people really do want to pilot their own decks, I'm open to discussions regarding that. But the initial plan is to make it as easy as possible. all you have to do is submit a deck list. So the only concern is, who gets which facet. So it will probably be about first come, first serve. If you send me a deck list and the deck list is a legal deck list, then you will have that slot as long as nobody else has taken that facet before you. But if you're the first one to submit for a particular color, you get the slot. So I do want to have a prize. Again, it's very low participation, but I still want to have a prize to encourage people to enter and then maybe see their decks play out on camera. And the prize is that I want the winning deck list to be up for sale on the Game Crafter with an illustration of the winner's avatar or character that they describe to me, or maybe it's a drawing that looks like them, and it'll be kind of like the classic, maybe like Card Fight Vanguard or Yu-Gi-Oh pose where they're holding their card out, and that'll go right on the art of the deck box that'll be for sale that has their name on it, the winning deck. So maybe I'll do that illustration, or maybe we'll get an illustrator to do it. I'm not sure yet, but that's the idea. And then of course, depending on shipping and where that person is in the world, I can send them a copy of the deck as well. So it's just like one single grand prize. And I might just do single elimination, or I might do the losers bracket as well, for where every deck has a chance to come back in through playing out in the losers bracket. But at the very least, you have more opportunities to have your deck play out on camera. So if you are interested, make sure you know how to build a Runiverse deck, look through the cards, and send me a deck list at silent7games@gmail.com. So anyway, thanks for taking a look at this first news vlog type of video. Maybe they'll be weekly. I might not have a chance to do it that often, but we'll see. And I'll just collect the news from whenever I previously did one of these videos. And again, news is just stuff that's particularly interesting to me and probably relevant to games in some way. So thanks for watching. Subscribe so we can get more subscribers, and bye.